Hello everybody and welcome back to Steve's Gear. And today we're going to take a look at a newer offering from Maxpedition. Now this is the Maxpedition Pico organizer. It's one of their smallest organizers so far. I think sometimes the smaller organizers kind of get overlooked. A lot of times the larger ones are more popular. You can put more gear in them and things like that. But a lot of times the smaller ones are what people, actually need or, work good for them. Now, like if you're in office or traveling or you want to put it in your pocket, a lot of times a smaller one works good. And you can't fill it up with too much stuff you're not going to use. You pretty much are forced to put the stuff you're actually going to need in it, which I think is pretty beneficial for some people. So we're going to take a look at this one, see if this might be something that works good for you. I'll go through some of the specs of it. I'll show you guys what I have in it, and we'll compare it to a couple other Maxpedition organizers as well. Now, size-wise, this one comes in at about 3 inches wide. It's about 5 inches tall, and it's about an inch deep. Now, good thing about Maxpedition is they do have a little bit of a little bit of give to them. So this one's probably stuffed out a little bit more than an inch. You do get your typical 500D material, which is a good abrasion-resistant material that is somewhat water-resistant as well. You get your YKK zipper, nice lanyard paracord pull, and you get really good stitching with Maxpedition. A lot of times they double stitch high stress areas, which makes them last longer. I have a couple pouches that I bought from Maxpedition for 8-9 years ago, and then I have some that are relatively new. And the good thing is it's the same quality today as it used to be. And that's not the same with all companies. So I do appreciate that they've kept up the good quality materials and the excellent construction, throughout all the years. Now here on the outside of it, you do have a nice mesh pocket here. In this pocket, I just have a little Night Eyes portable stand. It's for cell phones or tablets. It's always good to use when I travel. Get a nice Maxpedition logo here on the front. Now on the back side, you do get a nice little piece of Velcro here if you want to put a morale patch, or maybe you have a seat organizer or another larger bag and you want to just Velcro this to the other bag, you could always do that. You have a nice heavy-duty pull handle here, so if you want to keep this in your pocket, which it will fit in your front pocket, or you put it in a bag or sling bag or something, it's just something easy to grip onto and pull out. So I like that they have that. It comes in pretty handy. Now, for the back side, I will show you guys something I'm kind of thinking about for the back. I'll show you in just a few minutes, so it'll make sense. And you guys let me know what you think. Now, let's open this thing up. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm carrying in it, and then after I have everything out, I'll kind of go over the bag a little bit more. So inside here, this is going to be kind of like my little travel pouch, mostly for charging. I figure I can lay this on the, like the nightstand at a hotel or something, and it works. It should work good. It's a relatively small size. It should have most of the things I need in it. Now, I do have a headphone adapter here. I use AirPods a lot of the times, but sometimes I like to bring regular headphones, whether I'm on an airplane or, I'm just laying in the hotel bed or I'm on a Teams call or something. Sometimes it's just nice to have regular headphones. So I have that in there. I have a little USB-C thumb drive. It's nice for transferring larger files between your phone and your iPad or something, or I can move stuff between my iPad, my work phone and my regular phone. And if I want to back stuff up, it's a good choice. Now behind that, I just have a USB-C charging cable. This isn't actually the one I use. The one I'm is being used right now on something else. This is just for demonstrations, but it's always nice to have a USB-C cable. I have a little Olight charger here. Some of the stuff from Olight now has USB-C, but sometimes you do need this little proprietary charger, so I bring that with me. On this side, I do have those headphones. These are just old Sony headphones. I've had these things forever, but like I said, man, they work good on airplanes. And sometimes I'm just laying in the hotel bed or whatever, and I just want to plug these things in. Behind here, I have a lightning cable. Now, I do use lightning from my work phone, still has a lightning port, so I have to bring this with me. And then the other one is a Apple Watch charger. So I use an Apple Watch. It's always good to bring a charger. These little Velcro zip ties are really good for these cable organizing, just in case you're in the looking for something. They're cheap for a big pack of them off Amazon. I recommend picking those up. All right, now that we have everything out of there, you can kind of take a look at this Pico organizer. Now, it's set up fairly similar to their other organizers as well. On the left side here, you get 3 pieces of elastic loops. You get 2 that are a little bit larger on the sides and 1 smaller one in the middle. And then you get your 2 largest loops here on the right side. And behind that, you get full pockets to go all the way down to the bottom. You also get a little ring here if you want to, you can put a split ring on it, or you can put a little carabiner or something if you want to put your keys or whatnot in there. So this isn't, like I said, this isn't huge. And, if you put stuff in here, you got to remember this pouch is only 5 inches tall. So you're going to be limited on maybe some different kinds of pins, or maybe even, larger knives or something like that, larger multi-tools. But it's going to fit a good majority of some of your multi-tools, some of your pins, pencils, things like that. A lot of stuff you can fit in here relatively decently. But yeah, So that's kind of a look here at this inside. Now this big Velcro patch here on the back, I was thinking I don't have a wall charger. Obviously I can't fit the wall charger in here. And typically I use an Anker one that has one USB-C port and one USB-A port, but it's out in the truck right now. So I did grab just one of these old Apple chargers here, and I wrapped one of those elastic Velcro pieces over. But I thought, what if I take my wall charger and I just put a sheet of Velcro over it and I just attach it to the back of this? I'm not sure if I would like it or not. I don't know if that would be something I'd want to use like in a bag, but it might be a good way for me not to forget the charger, or a good way for me just to keep it on the backside. I haven't decided yet. Let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea or not. I'd be interested to hear. So let's compare it to a couple other pouches here as well. Now, this is one that I recently did a video on. This is the Platy. Now, the Platy and the Pico are kind of the same size. I mean, they're two different types of pouches, but you can fit this in the front pocket and you can fit this in the front pocket. Now, personally, I think this one's a little bit better for front pocket carry, but there's nothing wrong with this if you want to carry this one in the front pocket. They're just two different styles. This has more pockets on the outside versus this is one you have to more open up to use. But size-wise, they're fairly similar. Now, another one I used for a long time is the Maxpedition Micro. Now, I always thought the Micro was a pretty small pouch. And inside, it's actually set up pretty much the exact same way. It's just a larger scale. But if we compare these two, the Pico and the Micro, you can actually see what the size difference is. So it is a pretty good size difference. This is definitely a smaller pouch, but some people, that might be what they need. Now, if you want to pull in something a lot bigger, this is the Fatty. This is another one that I used for a long time. And if you compare these two, I mean, it is a pretty good size difference between the two. You could almost just fit the Pico right into the mesh pocket of the Fatty. Or if you wanted to stick on the other side of the Velcro here, you could almost just attach it right to the front and have kind of like a little modular carry. So just an option for you as well on that. And then the last one is the Beefy, which is the Beefy is the big one I did a video on somewhat recently as well. Now, if we compare these two, you can definitely tell the size difference between here. It would easily fit in the Velcro or in the mesh pocket on the front here. Same thing if you want to put the other piece of Velcro on, you could almost attach it right to the front of that. So yeah, just a quick size comparison kind of between the different models here. I don't have all of the Maxpedition models, but those are some of the ones I use the most. But yeah, overall, I think the Pico is a good size organizer. Like I said, not everybody needs the biggest one, Not everybody needs a Fatty fully stuffed out with stuff. Sometimes you just need to carry some of your basic necessities that you use day to day. And I think something like this Pico is a good size for that. So let me know in the comments what you think of it. What would be some good items you would put in it. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. Other than that, I hope you all have a wonderful day.